Hey guys, it's Matt Wenning at WenningStrength.com, and today we're going to talk strength enhancing tips. Now, these are some things that I've talked about a ton, but if you're new to the channel or you need a refresher, you're never going to hear these things too often, and you need to listen to them again. So let's get to it, and let's talk about strength enhancing tips and what we do at WenningStrength.com to get you guys super strong.
Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a f, that's what they don't understand. I'm back again like flu season, I broke records while loose leafing. I'm coming down my roof, leaving, don't give a f, I don't care. Did the by my lonesome, no wonder now I'm on one. No shortcuts on that long run, all I really want is my share.
Well, I think everybody's looking for that holy grail of how to get stronger. I mean, even if our goal is just to reach up to a 200-pound bench, a 300-pound squat, or a 400-pound deadlift, those are all achievable goals, I feel, for almost anyone. But at the end of the day, what you start finding is that everybody's focused on the intensity of the exercise, the volume of the movements, right? But in reality, those things are marginal compared to these tips that I want to give you guys to make sure that you're making progress. And what we should be focusing on is the things that we can fix easily. Again, we just had a client come into the gym today and wanted to write us a diet plan, or write them a diet plan. And what we start to find is that, yeah, we have all this information to write a perfect diet plan, but if you go from 0 to 100 miles an hour, it doesn't necessarily help. And that's why it's so important that you guys understand that you can't take a workout regimen from Ronnie Coleman or Arnold Schwarzenegger or some of these other guys that we all emulate or try to emulate and utilize, because you're just not them at that point in time. So here's the deal. Why is it that people do that? Well, one, it's laziness, and two, it's lack of education. Well, at WenningStrength.com, we're not going to be that channel to sell you quick tips. We're going to give you the right information. You do with it what you will. The first thing that I think most people are messing up with on strength enhancing tips is they're not focusing on outside of the gym, which includes sleep and the quality of that sleep and rest. Now, for most of us, we need to turn off our blue lights and TVs probably around 7:30, 8 o'clock to start letting our body naturally wind down. You'll find that not only in the eyes do you have receptors to light, you also have receptors to light in the skin. My great old mentor and friend, Charles Poliquin, used to talk about having a 65-degree temperature bedroom with as minimal lights as possible, insanely dark. Now, why is that? Because the body is sensitive to light, and when it senses light, it senses to wake up. You have to remember that 1,500 years ago, the only time that there was light is if somebody lit a fire, right? Or the sun was out. We didn't have artificial light until upwards of 100 years ago. So the point is that you guys need to understand that artificial light is not necessarily very healthy for your sleep. And if you're really, really, truly honest about getting better, you need to have sleep as a priority. Let's look at this graph, for example. This graph shows quality of sleep and percentage of body fat. So if you're trying to get leaner, you probably better be focusing on sleep, because to me, that would be the easiest way versus trying to add another 5 hours a week into your gym thinking training more is going to be better. When in reality, maybe just sleeping better would be better. This also falls along the lines of staying away from caffeine and energy drinks, which we talk about constantly. Now that has to do with adrenal fatigue and things of that nature. So if you're unfamiliar with that, go watch my energy drink video. But my opinion is, if you can sleep really, really good, you are going to make more progress in strength enhancing than you possibly could imagine, even with the proper program. The other things that can help with that is making sure you're supplementing with magnesium, especially from ATP Labs. Also, some companies of CBD can help with this amazingly as well. Now, the next thing that we need to talk about that is not popular again on YouTube or on social media, and that's deloading and supercompensation. In reality, you are not getting stronger when you train. You're getting stronger when you recover. And if you do not build recovery blocks into your training, you're going to find it very, very difficult, especially when you break that initial genetic limit to push your body to the max. You're going to find that this becomes more and more important. Now, what do we do with deloads? Well, at WenningStrength.com, we back our training down about every 3 to 4 weeks to enhance and restore. What this does is allows not only the muscles, but the central nervous system to reach full development. Remember that when you're training, you are beating your body down. You need to have repair cycles. But what I find that people that are talking about training, especially today's age, is that they're not talking about restoration, which is actually in some ways more important than actual damage itself. The other thing is you have to understand you have to deload in order to supercompensate. For example, when I was breaking all-time world records, I would take it anywhere from 10 to 14 days down before maximal lifts to make sure that my body was ready to lift maximally from all the heavy training. Now, the reason this is so difficult is that we tend to be mental midgets. Mental midgets mean that you have to touch weight all the time in order for you to feel like you're constantly making progress. So supercompensation is an advanced person's way to train, and the reason you don't see it is because most people's YouTube channels are talking to beginners and intermediates. They're not talking to advanced people. But what I find is that beginners and intermediates also need deloading and understanding of supercompensation phase in order for them to see the reality of what they've actually been doing to progress that. The other reason that deloads and supercompensations are so important is for soft tissue repair. This means ligaments and tendons tend to grow and adapt to training much slower than muscle tissue. With this being the case, you better have downtime in your training in order for the other soft tissue to catch up, or you're constantly going to be fighting injuries. This means that you are going to have less muscle mass than the person that's optimally training over a longer period of time. Now, the last thing that we hit on, which is very big at winningstrength.com, very big with our online coaching and manuals, and also our online Train Heroic and Patreon workouts, is understanding how to find your weakest link and train them and attack them. This means that max effort lifts need to be assessment tools. So if I'm leaning forward in the squat or my elbows are kinking way out in the bench, this is giving us valuable information on not only what we should be doing for accessories, but what we should be doing for warm-ups. So for example, if my elbow is kicking out very high on the bench, chances are my anterior delt is more dominant than my tricep. So if I warm up my tricep correctly, as seen in this video, and then over time put the bench press after the actual warm-up, or we like to call the 4 sets of 25 winning warm-up, what you'll find is it will actually enhance bench press form and reduce injuries and overuse. Why? It's the weakest link. So remember that when you're training, you guys need to be focusing at least half to more, or 60% of your training needs to focus on weakest links and fixing them. If you don't know what your weakest links are, I highly suggest you come on to online coaching and let us assess you to find out what those particular ways are so that you're not spinning your wheels, or more importantly, not getting hurt. So I hope this helps you open up your mind a little bit more to what's really important with strength training and how to really be the best you can possibly be. Talk to you guys soon.
Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a f, that's what they don't understand. I'm back again like flu season, I broke records while loose leaf and I'm